Hello, friends. Welcome to Lucifer Talks. So, today is the last day of summer and it's a wonderful day. So, we are here out looking at the nature. I hope you all are having good time. Today's topic is a little bit on off track for a lot of people, but it's essential. Canada accepts you irrespective of your sexual orientation, so you can breathe fresh air in our blessed nation. Homosexuality is being frowned upon in various countries and cultures around the world. Some nations continue to have old draconian laws that criminalize homosexuality, while others have changed with time. The British were the instigator of negativity around homosexual behavior in the colonies, where imperialists did not. It is also observed that the British colonial experience left taboos and superstitions in colonies just like the black cat. Canadian laws are in many ways based on British laws, and for this particular purpose, we need to know the relevance of the Sexual Offences Act of 1967 of the UK and relate it to with the respect of a very famous case of Canada, the Clifford case. The Queen, 1967, Section 822, the UK sodomy was first decriminalised in England and Wales. In 1967, Sexual Offences Act, then in Scotland in 1980, and in Northern Ireland in 1980. In 1967, the Officials Act, which criminalised private homosexual acts between men aged over 21, which at the same time imposing more massive penalties on street offences. Under the Colonial Legal Code of India and Queensland, both of which specifically criminalized male-to-male sexual relations, though by long-term imprisonment rather than death. Section 377, unnatural offenses, whoever voluntarily has carnal or canal intercourse against the order of nature with any man, woman, or animal shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall be liable to fine. So that's how homosexuality was seen at that point of time. Penetration is sufficient to constitute intercourse necessary to offense described in the section. So sexual conduct of an individual has long been monitored through enforcement of law. Sodomy, polygamy, unnatural sex, prostitution, and public display of sexual acts have been classified as indecency. Historically, we have read that presence of eunuchs around the royal families in the Mughal Empire and the Chinese Empire when men were away from the kingdom and were busy in the war, the homosexuals, transgender people were left behind to give company to the women and provide them protection. In Canada, Clifford versus the Queen case brought the discriminatory laws under scanner for broader discussion. I believe the challenges faced by Clifford was due to his fight for gay rights. He hoped for justice in his favor and favor of the gay community. The reason he pleaded guilty to his sexual preference towards homosexuality by having consensual sex with men was just to fight for the rights. His plea labeled him as a dangerous sexual offender, where in reality, the legal interpretation of dangerous sexual offender constituted following: a person who by his conduct in any sexual matter has shown a failure to control his sexual impulses and who is likely to cause injury, pain, or other evil to any person. Indeed, it appeared that Trudeau was a visionary who will be left untouched in history for some of his contributions, such as Canadian Charter of Rights, the Bill on Multiculturalism, and his endeavor of decriminalizing homosexuality. In 1978, homosexuals received patronage by the Society, and the Canadian Immigration Act removed them from being inadmissible. And in 1979, sexual orientation was considered the addition to Canadian Human Rights Act. However, only in 1996, under Bill C-33, sexual orientation was included in the Act. Ontario was the first province in May 95 to allow the adoption of the same-sex couple, which was soon followed by other regimes such as British Columbia, Alberta, and Nova Scotia. Ontarians were not shy in electing Kathleen Wynne as the first premier, the first female premier, but also the first openly gay premier in Canada. So, same-sex marriage, LGBTQ, gender fluid, two-spirited, the terms are now widely accepted in Canada and most of the civilized world. However, still the rights are regularly being attacked and people need protection. The Middle East and the Islamic world has not bent the norms. Even today, in most of the Middle Eastern countries, homosexuality is a crime. But under the dark shadows of the society, the bathhouses flourish from Jordan to Damascus, and I'm pleased that Canada is giving hope to those in need of safe passage. Canadian higher education institutions offer a safe environment to students, faculties, and staff, irrespective of sexual orientation. Yes, homosexuality is still a very sensitive topic in Canada and in various other countries. Canada is one of the 15 OECD countries that includes a question on self-identification as heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual in at least one of their nationally representative service. As per 2016, Canadian Community Health Survey says 3.2% of population of Canada consists of LGBTQ population. Canadians haven't fully embraced the homosexual lifestyle, and the attitude toward the LGBT community is halfway to a full social acceptance, but we are still doing much better than many other countries. The educated class is more open in comparison to normal Joe or Morris of Canadian rural communities. The low acceptance of LGBTQ community still puts them at risk of discrimination. The Canadian government has legally prohibited any discrimination towards them and has ensured equal rights for the LGBT community. Gallup surveyed in US and Canada on homosexuality to find out who is more accepting of homosexuals. Overall, Canadians did well. More than two-thirds, yes, more than two-thirds and 69% of Canadians are accepting of homosexuals as elementary school teachers compared to 56% of Americans. 4 out of 10 Americans oppose the idea of homosexuals teaching young children, while only 29% of Canadians hold this view. I view Clifford was a warrior, though he has gone through tough times and faced ordeal in the form of imprisonment on charges of gross indecency. Law takes its own course and it gets amended and changed as per the popular view of ordinary people at large. So Clifford's case brought the issue of gay rights in limelight, and the Supreme Court of Canada upheld the sentence given to him in 1967, which led to the process of decriminalization of gay sex about 2 years afterwards. In 2005, the Civil Marriage Act legalized same-sex marriage in Canada. People from around the world look at Canada as a heaven. Among the rightful immigrants, many others try to defraud the Canadian immigration system in the pretext of human rights, gay rights, and various other areas by exploiting the generous immigration norms of Canada. Being the first case in Canada where an individual was convicted as a dangerous sexual offender points towards the perception of Canadians at that time towards homosexuals. I'm friends with some of the most outgoing, flaunting pink homosexuals, and I enjoy the company of these high-spirited friends. So we need to look at the differences in a positive way. It takes courage to come out as a gay, even today in 2020, whereas in those days, acceptability towards homosexuals probably was like a dream. Men and women of homosexual nature were forced to live in Wales or were persecuted for showing any affection towards same sex. Polygamy and adultery were still acceptable, but homosexuality was considered unnatural. Even today, in many countries, it is illegal. Death sentences have been handed out to people in Iran. Hidden gay culture flourishes in Jordan and Jordanian Hammams. That is bathhouse. Orthodox country like India have decriminalized sodomy and same-sex marriage are accepted. In contrast, gay culture, along with gay prostitution, flourishes in China and Vietnam. In Canada, the Civil Marriage Act, Section C-33, declared in 2005 equal rights to all. So if you're planning to immigrate to Canada or your intention is to come here and study and you are amongst one of those people who identify themselves a part of LGBTQ community, you should remain confident that this is a country which will accept you the way you are and no one is going to judge you for your sexual identification or orientation. So feel free to look more about Canadian education and immigration and learn about your rights. You sure will get the best out of Canada, and this is a country you surely want to come and live. Stay tuned to my video so that we remain connected. And if you haven't done so far, please go subscribe Lucifer Talks, and I'm here to answer any question you have around any topic of immigration. So once again, take care and goodbye. Thank you.